Welcome back. Today we'll be talking more about our ERP experiment, trying to build an enterprise resource planning tool inside of the Mini Micro based off of this LCARS demo. I'm going to take a look around it for a minute. It has a couple things built into it, which is kind of neat. The file explorer is fairly complete. I'm a big fan of the sound effects. You have all three of the disks here. Mini Micro has a system disk and two user disks. We're able to navigate around there. I love the sound effects. Um, and it has this whole table structure that it looks sortable. Hmm. Going in there. And yeah, we can step through it. Like, these look like they're paging. Go to the bottom, go back up to the top, sort by name. Select all, select none. And we have so that's kind of neat. Having that little table component pre-built will probably be nice for us. Settings doesn't do anything. We're able to launch a program. We're not doing that right now. File manager, clock, calculator, 12 times 65. Kind of neat. News. Oh yeah, it's I think that's using the HTTP module to load in some content from a website. So basically, you have these four apps. You have those settings, which is currently not in use. Exit, the main content of the UI. You have the header, and you have the application content. And we're going to see if we can get this to where we can basically add more modules or more apps to this program. Just a second. So I'm going to skip over to our Visual Studio Code Editor. And you can see that I have the workspace set up the same as with the RPG Lite program. We have our main project up here. Currently just has our our YAML file from the AWS work, which we're not doing anything with that today. But we also have the utility disk. And over there, I have cloned the system disk from GitHub. So we have better access to that. We need to copy the LCARS demo. And we are going to rename that to ERP. That will be the base for our ERP program. And the first problem you may have noticed is that this file is over 1,000 lines long. And I don't like programs to be that long. So we're going to have to break it down. I'm going to rename that to main. So that's where the program's going to start. And basically, I don't know if I'm going to record all of this, but basically what needs to happen, we need to break this file down into components, probably using a similar pattern I'm doing with the RPG Lite program, where you have three main files. The init program, which open recent. Init cleanup, main. Those are the three main files in the RPG Lite program. I kind of liked the format I had there. Import, import util. Do that first. Import all the things. Do that all into the global scope. We want the add import path. Don't need that note anymore. To add the source directory, I'm going to skip most of this for now. And then at the end of it all, run chain over to the main program, run main. Main just starts in on its stuff. At the end of it all, runs cleanup. And then cleanup just clears everything off. And then it's done. This one doesn't, like, the event loop runs until it's done and then stops. Yeah, hit exit here. Yeah, it takes you back to the text screen. I think we're going to keep that. So theoretically, if I come into my folder here, there's our ERP YAML, which I'm not even sure I want to look at that in our mini micro. Let's just run unit. Should do a little bit of setup, chain over to the LCARS demo, and then wait until we exit. Like that. I really like those beepy sounds. All right, cool. Then basically what needs to happen is we need to start pulling bits out of this 1000-line program and sticking it into other files. How far do we want to go? So what I'm seeing here, at the top we have some imports playing the little blip thinking sound, setting up the displays, loading resources, adding special characters, more more sounds, and then it starts creating some classes. So this is where I'm going to start putting things in separate files, I think. And then we have just classes, classes, classes. So first thing we're going to do is just chop that out. Importing the import util. So this should still work because it's going to load all this stuff into the global scope and then hop over to main and then continue as normal. Reset, run. Cool. And then what you basically have to do is a whole lot of manual labor, which looks kind of like this. Like that chops out the style class or It's a style map. It's more like a collection of constants, really. And then that needs to go into our imports. But to keep the order the same, just in case that matters, we actually went to it. Something like the require like that. Copy that from our other project. Lib source more utils. Add core utils to our imports. Now we have the require command. And we're now importing style from the style ms file instead of just having it there in the middle of main. Exit, reset, rerun. Still works. And that's basically what we have to do for each of the components here, which I'm mostly going to be doing offline. Next time you see this, it should all be chopped out into little pieces. And then you can see down here, it looks like this is where we have actual apps being set up. We'll have to make some decisions on how we want that to look. But the file manager creates a panel. It's all event driven. Clock. Clock has an on update to keep the clock ticking. We have a calculator. Kind of neat. Ultimately, we're going to want each of those apps to be sitting in some sort of like app folder. I call it modules. But also, because this is going to have some, hopefully have some cloud infrastructure components, going to try to spice this up a little differently. We'll grab an infrastructure folder, and then maybe a client folder. So all the mini microcode needs to go into that client folder. That includes cleanup, init, and main. I'm going to rename these folders some, well, in between videos, but we'll walk through it again next time. So the client is down here, the startup. I think we don't want it running anything off the bat there. Do we? Here's the path. The path is client slash init. We've moved everything under the client source file folder. No, I'm rethinking this. The client folder is what we want mounted, not the AWS ERP miniscript folder. So we actually need to go ahead and grab the startup and boot options. If I was developing a website, the client folder would have like all the website details for the front-facing website. Okay, yeah, I think that's what I want. Unmount, mount folder. Looking for projects, ERP, client, reboot. Not running like I wanted it to. All the code is there. Let me check the startup again. That'll help. Reboot. Oh, it's because it runs that and never returns. That makes sense. Basically, this doesn't do anything. When you do a run, it chains over to the next program, and that chain, it's not a loop. Contains not found in map on line 4. That. There we go. Okay, so we're going to have our cloud infrastructure folder, going to have our client folder, and I'm going to go away for a bit and dice up this giant file into a bunch of little files. And then we will talk again. So, wish me luck. See you in a little bit. Right, so here's what we've got. I've rearranged the folder structure. And see at the top level, we have our client folder and our infrastructure folder. This is going to get fleshed out a little bit more in our next video. Client folder is going to be what is mounted to the mini micro. And yeah, you start an init, change over to main. The main function had the 1000-something line lcars demo, which I have broken up. At this point, create the group panel, and then you have a series of little modules, apps, whatever you want to call them, that are imported. And let's see. I'd like to make this a little bit more dynamic. We'll work on that. But so you read in each of those, create the main menu, and then you can see down here we're creating the buttons for each of our modules. But a lot of work went into this as far as like, see, you've got our modules folder with 4 modules, and then all the other classes got pulled out into separate UI component files that are all pulled in via the init program. And we'll demonstrate how to make a little sample module, which I have not done in advance. We're going to learn how to do this as we go here. First of all, I'm going to take these and bring them down here. So I have a hunch that each of these is basically the exact same thing. And I'd really like to put it into some kind of loop. Basically, for each of the modules, is creating a series of buttons and like stuffing the buttons into an array. See, the button gets a reference to the main menu so it knows what to attach itself to. What I want to do is this. For m and modules equals file manager, plot, calc, and News. Dynamically create the string here based off the module name. Module name, use that to generate the module. Want to pull that from the module we just imported. So what we're going to do that is like this. To the top here, we're returning a calc object, calc dot title equals calculator. Yeah, I'll have to do that for each of our modules. File manager. Not there. Let's be on the actual panel. So we did calculator, clock, and main. Each module has its own main function and will then have its own folder structure inside of it, which is good because the file manager is going to need to be further split up. But going back to main, those are all these modules. Pop that out with the module title, attaching to the main menu. All this other stuff is probably good. And then we should not need this anymore. Let's run it. Exit, reboot, just to be sure. And function without matching starter block, line 86. Aim is unknown, line 80. Identifier news, line 82. Put that down there. And down here. File manager is unknown, line 119. So we're going to look at and save that module so that we can refer back to it later. Line 122. Oh, there's the array there. Looking at that, skip straight to news. That wasn't good. I think because we need to make sure the button's referring to the correct module in the modules list. There. Store the module we're switching to on the button, and then the button can refer to whichever module it's been assigned to. That's what you're going to switch to. Block, calculator, news. Awesome. And so, exit that. Let's say we want to add a new module. We're going to call this one sample. And we're just going to do something simple here. I'm going to duplicate the news module. So I just want to dump out some text. You can keep the name, it won't matter. I'm going to have an info block with the title sample. Okay, just stick a bit of text on the screen. Oh, awesome. Refer to it in our module list. We'll get back to that soon. Index out of range, sample, main line 65. Side effect of learning as we go. Let's get a line break. I think it might just be expecting there to be more than one line in that text. That's not it. Line 65. Use data. Line list index 0 is out of range. Story is coming from the news data array. What I'm going to do, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this bit here. Focus on just presenting something. And change the color a bit. Set, boot, run, and plot, calculator, sample. There you go. Spit out a little bit of sample text. So we could do a little bit more work here to dynamically load modules from whatever's in that modules folder. But I think I'm going to let this sit a little bit. The next time we come back to this project, we're going to be working on the backend infrastructure. Need to figure out how we're going to basically generate YAML files from Miniscript and then automate pushing them out to cloud formation. And then we gotta figure out how we're going to read that from a mini script program. well, read the data and stuff in the cloud, which should be all kinds of fun. And that is all for today. Thanks for joining me. See you soon.